praise Dale and raise hail.
All right.
I like that better.
Yeah, that's fine. 111. Go ahead.
This is season 1, number 11.
Because I know we like to number our episodes as if we're in the hundreds already.
Let's really know. Yes,
Ooh.
I can't get
Sick vocoder effect, Zach.
Genuinely, from my side, that looked insane. So I don't know what's happening over. I just want to apologize up front for my Wi-Fi. It is apparently terrible, and I don't know what to do to fix it right now. So if my voice is more aggravated than normal, blame it on Spectrum, baby. That's what I say about a lot of things. Blame it on Spectrum. Hello, everybody. We are Some Nobodies Plus tonight. I am a Some Nobody. My name is Zach. With me always is Dylan. And our friend Mr. Michael Colby is with us sometimes, as usual.
I'm a nun somebody.
He is a not somebody. A not bot. No, I probably couldn't make that work. Michael, how are you? How are you doing?
Okay. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
I'll be okay.
Be okay.
Yeah.
Okay, yes. On the path, okay.
It's the week before like a 12-day vacation from work.
Oh.
So you know how that goes. Like
I do know how that goes.
Every day takes a week.
Yeah. That's 100, especially now. For some reason, working now every day is about 5 to 7 business days. And I agree with that. Dylan, how are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. The semester's over for grad school. I've been substitute teaching.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's crazy.
What do you teach? Biology?
I'm on call pretty much any day of the week.
You're like an on-call surgeon, but of just teaching.
Yep. They will send me a job the night before or the morning of, and they're like, hey, you're going to this school and you're doing 6th grade math. And I get there and the teacher's like, give them a worksheet. When they're done, they can play Fortnite on their school issued Chromebooks. And I'm like, what is public education now? And then I remember I'm not at a public school, I'm at a charter school. I'm like, all right.
What is charter education?
What's that?
What he said.
Oh, yeah, okay.
You made that joke on episode 4, just so you know.
And I will continue to make it.
Yeah. All right. So before it gets worse, let's hop into our weekly segment. Right?
Sure.
Rest in prose. And this is a brief review of some dumb epitaphs. Normally, as you guys know, I bring a lot of epitaphs to the table and I discuss their historical value, where they came from, et cetera, et cetera. Now, because my Wi-Fi is so bad and you guys are so gracious, you decided to send me your photos so that I can display them and you can go over the historics of what these epitaphs are on gravestones. And I really appreciate the amount that you guys sent me. Overwhelming. Normally we do like 7 to 8, but you guys sent in 20 each. So this is going to be kind of a lengthy one. Nowadays, we try to be as historically accurate as possible. These gravestones are of actual people and they do exist. I have no idea how I sound, and I'm really sorry about that. Michael Colby, but you did bring the first one to me. Now, obviously, I can see that this is for Joel Cheskin. Quote, last in the hole. What about this do we not know yet?
You would think that this was about golf. But in fact, Joel Cheskin was training to be an Olympic shooter. He wanted to do the what do you call that? Where they shoot the targets.
Golf.
Shooting.
Yeah, shooting, whatever.
Oh.
And he never once hit anything. None of his bullets ever touched anything. He never made a hole in a target, in an animal, in the ground somehow. They never even landed. And nobody knows how that happened, but he finally got a hole in the ground that they put him in.
Oh, okay. Now,
Yeah.
do we know how this person passed away?
Yeah. He was walking down the street, one day, like as you do, and one of the bullets that never landed in the ground, he just walked into it. It was just floating there, and he walked into it.
All the momentum was just paused, huh?
Yeah. It was like spinning in the air. Yeah.
That is, I think, how inertia works. If it doesn't go forward, it'll stay there, but stay there hard.
Yeah, it stayed there really hard, and as soon as it touched,
boom,
it right through.
Finally got a hole in one.
Yep.
Dylan, you were pretty excited about one of the first ones you sent in, which was this one. Daughter White. Is that which?
I was hoping you would be able to pronounce it.
Well, from you guys.
Doltervike.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Okay, so what can you tell us about the Daughtervike family?
Well, they got a lot of daughters. Doltervike is actually German for daughters. Why? Like, why are we having so many kids?
Oh, it's a question.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is actually a family gravestone. They went on a picnic in the snowstorm, and they didn't realize they were picnicking on the surface of a frozen lake. And when the lake ice broke beneath them, they all fell into it at the same time.
Yes. Well, I mean, that's what the gravestone says pretty much.
Oh.
What about this do we not know? Maybe just for
I misunderstood the question. I'm sorry. We don't know their last names. Only their first names are listed there.
We know that this is the Daughtervike family. We do know that is all of their last names. That is one of the few things that we do know just by looking at this gravestone. What are some facts that you might have found about this that we might not know?
Wait, I assumed that was the name of the town that they were in. Like they populated the entire town.
No.
And this was the town's gravestone. No?
Oh, no, they're from the town of Pond. I'm sorry, Michael, you found something about this?
No, I was just gonna say I think the grad school that Dylan's been going to has actually been a bizarro grad school that has made him dumber.
Yeah, man, what don't we know about that?
That's okay.
We don't know what they were having for their picnic.
Now, you were very clear with me that you have not been turning in your homework, even at your own school or the school that you've been substituting teaching. So I don't mind that you didn't do that much work. We have so many more of these to get through. So let's move on to Michael's.
I needed to warm up.
Now, this one was crazy until I realized the mystery here, which was pretty funny. So I went ahead and just outlined this just so that we understand what's going on here. But Michael, what about this do we not know?
What we don't know is you highlighted that the first letter of all of these lines stands for fuck you.
Yeah.
But that was not the intent. What he was actually trying to say is the actual like lines there. It just happens. It just so happened that it spelled out a dirty curse word.
Oh, that's ironic.
This is actually a very nice. This man was very nice, John. What I wanted to do was to show that some people are actually just nice, but you have turned this into a dirty, swear filled, terrible thing, and you're a bad person for it. And now I'm bummed because I thought that we would be uplifted by this man's message.
Well, would you like to read this so that we can be uplifted? Because I messed this up, but bring us back up.
Yeah, it says, free your body and soul, unfold your powerful wings, climb up the highest mountains, kick your feet up in the air. You may now live forever or return to this earth unless you feel good where you are. So it's just a thing about how you should be happy with where you are and who you're with and, your life in general, because it could be worse.
So the one sentence though says, "You may now live forever or
Yeah.
return to this earth,
Yeah.
unless you feel good where you are."
Yeah.
So you may now live forever unless you feel good where you are.
Yeah, because you're dead and it doesn't matter.
Got it.
Like
Got it.
whatever you think is going to happen, is what you think is going to happen.
Yeah. No, I like that.
The world that we live in is so stupid and messed up that nothing actually matters. So if you think you're going to come back to Earth, then you're gonna. And if you think that you're going to live forever in heaven playing the harp, you're going to do that.
You're good. Okay.
Powerful stuff.
Powerful stuff.
Dylan, you're up.
Okay. I'll do it right this time. I'm sorry.
You did it right the first time, I think. It's probably my internet that is not allowing. Oh, here we go. Okay, yeah, Dylan. So obviously we see that this is from Samuel Whitemore, right? Samuel Whitemore. Now, interesting, this was near the spot that the dead body is.
Interesting.
So I do like that about this. Then 80 years old, killed 3 British soldiers. Apparently he was shot, bayoneted, beaten, and left for dead, but recovered and lived to be 98 years of age. So all this happened after he was 80. Is that correct?
That seems like it. Yes.
Yeah. Now, what about Mr. Whitemore do we not know based on specifically the words that are written on this gravestone?
We don't know when he turned 98, and I think that's really important because he could have turned 98 like last year, and just been a really old 98.
Yeah. He was 80 years old in 1776, right? So he would have to have been 98 years old 18 years later, i.e.
I suppose
94.
I was going to say it doesn't say that he lived to be 98, but it absolutely does.
It absolutely does.
100% does say he was 98 years of age.
Well, Samuel Whitmore went on to voice
one of the
Palpatine.
few things.
Didn't Sam Whitmore voice Palpatine in the Clone Wars cartoon? So he had to have been around a couple years ago.
That was Sam Witwicky? No,
Sam Witwicky is from Transformers 2 Revenge of the Fallen, which we've talked about on this podcast.
You're right. He's also in Transformers 1.
I suppose.
Yeah. Okay. So other than the fact that this is a really old man who's stabbing people with the ends of his guns, did you find anything else about this interesting? He does have some around there. Do you know why this wasn't where dead bodies?
You're going to have to try that one more time. I'm sorry.
Since we were talking about Transformers, he was doing a Bumblebee impression.
Oh, right. I don't know whether he would have supported the Decepticons or the Autobots.
Michael, you're next.
I picked this one mostly because it reminded me of something that I would have played on the PC in about 1996. In that it's so pixelated that I can't even tell mostly what it says. I feel like this is a part of a puzzle from a point and click adventure game.
This is a hell of a game.
Okay.
So
listen.
the words that I can read, I think are clues to the puzzle that I have to solve. And it says love, horses, women die. Hide, ladies, rest in peace. So I think this is about that British woman who fucked a horse and died from it. So I have to find her gravestone, dig up the body, probably pull out some sort of gem to slot into the eye of a skull in the hallway of the mansion so that the door opens and I can go in, play the tune on the piano from the sheet music that I found when I opened the door earlier and the dog was chewing on it. But I saved it, found the scotch tape inside of the bathroom, and then taped it back together.
I would not have gotten any of that from that stone. So thank you very much. That's all I'm asking for. Dylan, you're up while my Wi-Fi is active.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've done research on this.
Yes. I mean, we were talking about it earlier today. He died of a heart attack when he was disappointed that his friend put on Transformers 3 Dark Side of the Moon instead of Transformers 2 Revenge of the Fallen. And his last words were, I was hoping for a pyramid.
So he died watching Transformers?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Upset
Truck ran
about
right
that?
through the wall.
Oh, not even upset to a heart attack. He was just saying, I
No.
was hoping for a pyramid truck in. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, he did have a heart attack, but it was after the truck hit him.
Right. The weirdest part was that he was watching it on an airplane.
That is interesting. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Michael, you're up next.
Mm-hmm.
Now, obviously, this gentleman passed away in 1919, which is cool sounding. We do know that he was 59 years old. What else about Arthur do we not know?
I think this is all we need to know about Arthur Spanks was that Arthur spanked his wife, Catherine, which was how they did things back in the day. You know, if she didn't have his hot meal ready, he spanked her. If she didn't have the house cleaned when he got home from work, he spanked her. You know, when they were in bed, he spanked her. They didn't have any children, but because he was incapable of producing semen. But all that Catherine wanted was the spankings.
Right.
So she was actually a very bad cook and a bad housekeeper on purpose so that she would get the spankings.
And did spanking mean something different in 1919, or was it just open hand on the butt cheek?
Open hand slap to the butt cheek. Yep.
Nice. Okay.
Yep.
Dylan, do you have any questions about Arthur Spanks?
I think you answered them or asked them for me.
I did.
Yeah.
Dylan, my Wi-Fi is not doing too good. This will be the last one of this.
All right.
I clicked it.
Uh-oh. I think Zach is from one of my 1990s adventure games too now.
Yeah, this is not good for me. So, Dylan, in 1958, we had a victim of the Beast 666.
Yeah.
One of many from my very limited Googling. But what more about Lily E. Gray would you like to tell us?
I want to know if they ever caught the one who did it, or if he just went into hiding as the Beast GGG.
So, okay, your information gathering is a couple questions for the audience, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to put a poll on our Patreon whether the perpetrator of this murder was ever apprehended, or if they simply hid under the name GGG because nobody would expect it.
Right. Now, when normally we do in-depth historical dives into who these people are, how they created this epitaph, the people that they left behind. And I'm fairly shocked that you did zero prep for this. I know that you did have a final or a midterm this week, but
I didn't go.
Well, everybody. Rest in pros. You know, when the Wi-Fi's out, the shows aren't that good. You know that. That's a fact.
That is,
which means
we rely on Spectrum for the quality of our comedy.
Spectrum brings the content, and without Spectrum, these jokes are not that good. And I don't know what that says about any of us, but it does say a lot about Spectrum.
They refuse to answer my proposal for advertising.
Yeah. So I apologize if I sound weird to everyone out there. I sincerely apologize. To me, I sound normal and fine. But to everybody else who's giggling every time I speak, I think that I sound crazy. So I do apologize. Let's get on with what we saw on the show. That was the first people that I like. How they react. Oh God, I hate you guys so much. Dylan, you also have access to our doc for this, right? Now, I have a couple things in the beginning that we normally talk about, and I wanted to get your reaction on these. First of all, if you don't know, the Sony Pictures the universe of Marvel movies, or the SPUM, as some people refer to it, the SPUM, has officially ended. It is completely gone now, apparently.
Wait, really?
Yep, that's true.
Craven's the last one. Have they said this publicly, or is this like some like Amy Pascal is like, I don't know.
No, they've officially said that they're canceling this style of the universe with how bad Craven's doing. And I guess recently it came out that they had the availability of using Spider-Man the entire time. Like, they weren't stopped from doing that. And we've seen Madam Web together in that universe with Morbius. How do you guys feel about that universe, those movies, or Sony trying to do this, or if you care?
I am glad that we got something like Madam Web out of this. I am legitimately glad that they made that movie. I think that movie is going to be a cult classic for like, what were they thinking?
Yeah.
I think Morbius had its moment, but I think ultimately probably Madam Web is going to be more than just the meme, because that movie is truly baffling. Like, Morbius is bad, but Madam Web is a whole different animal. From what I understand, Craven is just bad and boring. And I don't know, rest in piss. Like,
Venom movies, everything. You don't care.
Fuck off, Sony. Like, goddamn. Like, I don't know. Like,
Michael, how do you?
Yeah. No, that's pretty much it.
No, that's fine. Michael, how do you feel about trying to launch a universe based solely on villains for a character that does not exist in the world?
If nothing else, I think that is an interesting thing to try to do. And especially since I'm not specifically a fan of Spider-Man, I don't care that he's not in those movies. And as someone who's not a fan of the Marvel movies, I would rather watch the worst of those Sony movies than the best of those Marvel movies, because those Sony movies were gritty, they were gross to look at, and they were at least something, besides sanitized big action scenes, which I can't stand those Marvel movies for.
Yeah.
So I would rather watch I would rather watch Tom Hardy do just about anything, but I would specifically rather watch Tom Hardy, like, his dirty ass self sweating and being gross all over the screen, than like Robert Downey Jr.'s perfectly like sculpted facial hair doing shit. Like, I just think that those are more fun to look at.
Would those movies have done better if Spider-Man was in them?
Probably, but then it would have been a completely different thing.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, shit. Speaking of which, I wonder if you guys have opinions on this. They announced 28 years later, the sequel to 28 Weeks Later, which is a sequel to 28 Days Later. I think time-wise, it fits. Cillian Murphy is phenomenal actor now, Oscar awarded actor. How do you, Michael? Do you have any experience with these movies?
Yeah, I really liked I liked the different take on zombies. I liked the way that they turned instantaneously. I thought that was a very interesting world. That first one takes a weird turn about halfway through the movie. And I was not a huge fan of it the first time I saw it, but in subsequent viewings, I was like, now I know what to expect. And then it was like, oh, okay, I get this. And yeah, I'm excited to see what happens 28 years later.
Dylan, what about you? Have you seen any of these movies?
I have not seen any of them.
Nice.
Never seen them. I generally like Alex Garland, though I think sometimes he needs someone to rein him in. I think someone will probably keep him in check. This won't be a men situation.
Mm-hmm.
I will really like Danny Boyle as a director. Sunshine is fantastic. And I know Alex Garland worked with him on Sunshine, so that's a good mix.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like Aaron Taylor Johnson. I like Jodie Comer. I like Ray Fiennes. I like everybody. Ralph Fiennes? Ray Fiennes. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I like everybody in this.
Yeah.
But
they're revolutionized and style zombie. That created the fast zombie.
yes.
And then ironically, a couple years later is when 28 Weeks Later came out, and great movie, not as good as the first one. And obviously that was about 30 years ago. So I do like when movies can last the duration of when they're actually coming out. So I'm excited to see it.
I might go see it. I don't know. I'm not very concerned about continuity.
I would definitely watch the first one before seeing this. 100%.
Okay.
Like 100. The first one is one of the best zombie movies ever made.
Sure.
Without a doubt. I don't know how good this one is. All right. Something else I saw. Henry Cavill obviously just got a big deal with Amazon to do a 2-year. He's doing a lot of the production on this. He's doing a lot of on a Warhammer 40K series. We know about Lord of the Rings, other IP that is done similar to this. Does this have any chance of being good with your knowledge of Warhammer, Dylan?
I'm a big Warhammer 40K fan as a setting. I don't play the mini game. I've run some of the tabletop role playing games like Dark Heresy I ran in college. I really like the aesthetic. I think it is unfortunately one of those settings that attracts the wrong type of person for the aesthetic, and they miss the subtext of it because it's a highly fascistic military setting with really good branding. And I think a certain type of dumb person looks at that and goes, that's cool. However, I think Henry Cavill is a genuine nerd, and I think he's generally an okay guy, as far as I'm aware. And I think if he really has as much creative control over it as it seems, I think it's got a real chance to be a pretty damn good over-the-top sci-fi horror action. Because it's generally a horror setting, even though people don't call it that. It's a horrifying setting.
Yeah.
Like it's be a bad place to be. Apparently there's a Warhammer Plus streaming service.
I don't know about that.
That's bizarre. I think it depends on what he makes it focus on. If it focuses on the guardsmen, it'll be probably pretty good. If it's Space Marines, it's going to be an entire different beast.
Well, he would be a Space Marine.
I think so.
But I also feel like Goblin or Orcs have to be a main part of this.
There are so many different factions they can focus on. But honestly, if they want it to be, if it's a business decision, they're going to try and do as many factions as they can fit in there.
Yeah, for
purposes. I want to see Necrons. I want to see Tau.
Yeah.
Those are kind of my two big favorites of the 40K setting.
Do you have experience with Warhammer?
I played Space Marine 1 and Bolt Gun. Those are the only two Warhammer things that I've ever played. And it seems... I think just like the video games, it's going to be hit or miss. Like they can either do something fantastic with it or do something very... I don't even want to say bad because I've never heard anything bad about any of the games or anything, but like you can make a real generic run-of-the-mill sci-fi thing out of it. But I don't think Henry Cavill is going to do that. I think he'll do just fine.
Yeah. I mean, well, Amazon did Halo, and that has nothing to do with that game for the most part. Was that Amazon or was that Paramount?
It was on Paramount Plus.
Oh, okay. Then
I think, right?
And that's not really Rings of Power, right? You guys watch that?
Amazon did Rings of Power. I have not watched the second season.
Yeah. But it could be okay, right?
Yeah. I'm hopeful. I hope it's good.
Yeah.
I would really like to see. I think it would be really cool to see Gaunt's ghosts. Like they're like a cadre of like kind of radical inquisitors. I think that would be really fun, and that gives you a lot of opportunity to do some kind of lower stakes, like not so crazy, beefed up Space Marines ripping people in half. You get up a bit more of like an intrigue, like who's possessed by a demon, like shit like that. I think that would be fun.
Yeah. All right, other nerd stuff. I recently saw that Jeremy Allen White from The Bear, he was cast as a voice in Star Wars as a character known as Stinky by the fans, who is Jabba the Hutt's son. Jeremy Allen White, the amazing actor, the award nomination winner, is going to be a Hutt. How do you guys feel about the current state of Star Wars and this casting?
I've watched the first 2 episodes of Skeleton Crew, and I thought it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there are more episodes out yet. I don't know when it releases.
Wednesdays.
So is it the third episode's probably out?
Tuesday night, technically at 9. Episode 3 was out last week.
Okay. So I will probably watch Skeleton Crew all the way through.
Nice. When
it inevitably crosses over with The Mandalorian or any other thing, that's when my interest starts to dissolve because I don't want homework to enjoy a TV show. I'm fine with the occasional thing, but it's Star Wars and it's not occasional anymore.
Yeah. Michael, any Star Wars information?
As far as Star Wars goes, the last 2 things that I liked about Star Wars was Outlaws and what was that? Andor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm tired of Jedi. is
Yeah.
basically where I am. I don't care about the Empire. I don't care about the Jedi. I want to see what normal people are doing with, you know, this huge battle raging. I want to see what the economy and like the you know, just what other people are doing to survive during this thing, because I've seen the Jedi, I've seen the Empire, I know what's going on there. I want to see what's going on outside of the big conflict. But that seems to be things that your standard Star Wars fan is not interested in.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're going to keep making that stuff. I think they're going to go back to, you know, your JJ Abrams Star Wars action Jedi bullshit. And I might be done with Star Wars,
Yeah.
and that's unfortunate because I used to really love Star Wars.
Skeleton Crew to me is it's a lot it's better than the majority of Star Wars that's out there. It does have a almost an 80s view similar to Andor, but where it's like you're in the universe but you're in a suburb, and I think that is an interesting place to be for Star Wars. I hope any of this audio is coming through. But the suburbs, which you've never really seen in Star Wars before, having that explored, having weird parts of the universe that isn't Jedi heavy. Oh, geez, sorry.
That was me.
Yeah. I agree with you, Michael. I'm into not Jedi. Like they're just a cult, and the movie's obsessed with this cult for some reason. You know, I'm sick of that. All right. Dylan. What are you into?
Well, I started reading House of Leaves. I know I'm 20 years late on that. But a friend of mine lent me his very well-used copy. I'm only a chapter or two in. It's very fun. It's been very interesting to find the notes that other people add in the book. Like, this copy has been written in the margins by the people who have read it, and there's a list of people who have read it at the start. Like, they've all added their names. And, like, I turned the page, and I found a note from my sister from 15 years ago who read this copy, because it's from a friend of mine. So,
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, shit, all right. Yeah, it's spooky. It's effective. And I've been playing Balatro a lot.
What's that?
It's a poker-based roguelike video game made by one guy. It recently won a bunch of indie game awards. You make poker hands and you get points, and jokers can modify your point values and what you can do with your cards. It's a very simple explanation of it. And it, you know, when I bought it on a whim because it was on sale, and it is time-consuming, to say the least.
You played this game, Michael, right?
Yes. Yeah, I just started. I also bought it because it was on sale. I have about 6 hours into it. Yeah. I'm seeing it on a lot of people's Game of the Year lists, and I don't think it's Game of the Year, really, but it is a very interesting and addictive type of video game that I don't normally get into. I think the only other deck builder roguelike like this that I was into was Monster Train, and that was like 5 years ago.
I played Slay the Spire a lot, and this is compared to Slay the Spire, and it's not quite the same. I think only conceptually.
I think this is the thing to play it on.
Oh yeah,
because then, like, if I'm watching something else or like on the toilet or something, I can just play a couple. You know, I can play a run of it. I'm not like stuck to my computer playing it. But yeah, I think it's definitely like a really interesting one of those. It definitely hooked me more than a Slay the Spire or even a Monster Train. it's it's definitely worth it. And I think the actual price of the thing is $15. So like even not on sale, it's worth it.
It's $10 on mobile.
Is it the same game, mobile to platform or whatever?
It does not require much processing power.
Cool. Michael, what else are you consuming right now? What are you reading or watching?
I have been watching Don to Don. This is an anime on Netflix.
Yeah.
It's your typical story. Boy believes in aliens. Girl believes in ghosts. Girl bets boy to go someplace where there's ghosts. Boy bets girl to go someplace where there's aliens. They find out that they're both right. So there's these weird ghosts and aliens. It turns into a wacky adventure, and then gets episodes that have more heart than anything I've seen in like media lately, and then right back to wacky adventure.
Nice. I think I did see that on Netflix.
Yeah, it's fantastic. B and I talked about it on our last episode of This Bizarre Adventure. It's like a 45-minute episode, and I would say 20 minutes of that is talking about Don to Don rather than JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, which is what the show is about.
That's cool.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, it's really good. It's got a lot of heart. It's also got a lot of wackiness. It's also got the hottest grandma you've ever seen. It's also got a ghost grandma trapped inside of one of those lucky cats who gobbled the boy's dong. And
neat.
Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, it's really weird. And it's really fun.
How many episodes are there? Do you know?
I think episode 9 is the latest one.
And what that comes out?
Knowing you could watch it 3 times before the next episode is out.
Yeah. Cool.
Thursdays, the new episodes come out.
Did you watch Delicious in Dungeon?
No.
I heard about it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. There's like almost 30 episodes in the first season, but it's about finding monsters in the dungeon and then learning how to cook them and eat them, which is pretty cool. You should check it out. And the artwork is actually very good. All right. Before my Wi-Fi goes out, let's get into what we talk about in the show. Dylan, I'm going to probably need your help here. Okay. In the matter which 2 of our shows popped up on the random generator. If you know, we have a show called Talking Upstream, where we have 54 episodes of us finding our favorite content creators of any regard and interviewing them, finding out why they do what they do, et cetera, pitching them brand new ideas and working on it together. We decided to find out which of those concepts is probably the best, or at least the most worth working on. I decided to make a bracket system. And Dylan, will you tell me what is on the bracket system for today?
Yeah, so this is episode 116, Tree Talk, which had Anthony Blackwell Jr. from the Everyday People podcast, versus episode 213 with filmmaker Kamika? We got it wrong in the episode.
Yeah,
Kamika Hartford.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so you just want me to go over which episode was which?
So Kamika, that was our first like 2-parter because we ended up working on this for so long. But the concept that we pitched to her
yeah, that's the Werewolf Nuns episode.
Yeah, will you explain that to Michael?
Yeah, so it's set during the, I believe, Spanish-American War. It's set during like the early 1900s. And it's a group of Spanish soldiers show up to a convent, and they're like fleeing from another. It's a Mexican-American War. They show up at a convent on the border. They take it over as an unwilling garrison for their squadron because they're deserters leaving the front. The nuns are like, hey, just take it easy. Like we'll take care of you for the night. Storm rolls in. And as the soldiers get increasingly rowdy, one of them gets attacked by a half wolf, half woman creature. And it turns out most of the nuns at this convent are werewolves. And so it's about this, either he was like a sympathetic soldier, he was like a captive or something. And there was like a sister who had not taken the potion or something yet. So she wasn't a full werewolf. And it's about the two of them trying to like survive the night. And there was an extended like we came up with a fair amount of it, but it was effectively a convent of werewolf nuns slowly kill off a squadron of deserting soldiers in the middle of like the desert.
Yeah, no, I had a great time with that. We had a lot of cool ideas for that, and there being like a werewolf in there because most people think a werewolf is male sometimes. I don't know. We had a whole bunch of really interesting ideas, and I think there's a lot of places to go with that setting. And that's going to be up against episode 116, which was Tree Talk. Do you remember what that concept was?
I remembered it very vaguely when you mentioned it to me. I went back and looked over what we had.
Okay. This was
very much an early Talking Upstream idea. Very much like it was a lot simpler, a lot less high concept. And it was, let me see. Let me pull it back up.
Wait, was that the one where if you bury a dead body, whatever grows there speak to you or something?
The initial idea was that this guy had buried his wife under and implanted a tree over her grave, and he buys some sort of, there's like a machine that lets you talk to trees, and through he talks to the spirit of his dead wife, and he starts falling in love with the hippie girl at the plant store that sells him the machine, and it becomes this kind of like idea about moving on while still remembering the past.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, they're two
separate things. It's a cute kind of like magical realism story.
Yeah, I remember being two separate things. The guy had a machine that could talk to plants. Ironically, he buried his wife, which sprouted a tree, and that tree was like, "But I'm your wife still," and he has to move on. Except there's this tree that loves him in the backyard. I don't mind that. I think that's adorable. Mind it.
I think it's cute. Yeah, it's very much what I would expect from. I don't know. Go ahead, Michael.
That one sounds like it would definitely be more commercially viable. Like that sounds like something that people would be into consuming.
Oh yeah, it's an Arbor Day Hallmark holiday movie.
Yeah, it could definitely straddle the line of cheesy and like actually good. And either way, I think people would be more inclined to like give it a shot. Like it does seem like something that would be a early February release in the theaters, and a lot of dates would, a lot of hand jobs would happen in that theater.
A lot of happy wood, huh?
Yeah.
Ha. Oh, it's called Morningwood. Mourning.
Oh, nice.
I like it.
So, Michael, between those two areas of content creation, which one of those two do you think deserve more of our time, possibly even some of your time?
The thing about the werewolf thing is it reminds me of one of my favorite movies of all time, Ravenous.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Dog Soldiers.
No. It reminds me of. Did you ever see the movie Ravenous? Just the way you were explaining it, it was like a compound. People come in, they don't know what's going on. There's whatever happening. It reminded me of that, and then there's werewolves, which I also like. Yeah, but like I said, I think the other one's more commercially viable. Okay. And we could that seems like something that you could turn into something that both has widespread appeal and also is weird enough that it could like be something that like weirdos like me who like the Sony movies more than the Marvel movies would also like.
I mean,
Yeah.
we could make Tree Talk on a $500 budget super easy with the right team.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Not a problem.
That's something that it's definitely doable and people would probably want to see it.
Where would you like to see that? Like that? What is an idea that you can throw into that quickly that would sway mine or Dylan's direction?
I think I made my case for it.
I'd buy it.
The werewolf nuns thing definitely is something that I would like to watch. I would like to check that out. I think it would be awesome. It also seems like something impossible to make without a big budget. And also it seems like the sort of thing that would probably be pretty niche for the people who would be watching it.
It's a cult classic, not a wide release.
Yes, it sounds awesome. I love it.
I was setting you up to say something about a guy humping a tree. I really thought that's what you were gonna go with.
It's definitely. Do you remember, Zach? What was the name of that? We had the guy on. He made the movie about the talking mold in the bathroom.
My favorite episode. I don't know that name, but
it was a late episode.
Yeah, he had a mohawk. He was very cool.
Yeah, he was cool. It would be kind of like that movie where it's like
Actually, I need to find that movie because Michael, you need to watch that movie.
I think you'd really like it. It's weird as fuck.
Yeah, it's got one of your favorite actors in it as a voice of this nasty mold that grows in this guy's bathroom.
Nicolas Cage?
No.
Bruce Campbell?
No.
The movie was called Motivational Growth.
Growth.
No, it had the guy from Reanimator.
Yep, Reanimator.
Jeffrey Combs.
Jeffrey Combs. I do.
He voiced a talking mold in this guy's shower, and it becomes this kind of like hallucinogenic, like weird psych out horror movie kind of thing.
Yeah, very cool, very low budget, but very, very cool.
Yeah.
All right, well, Tree Talk wins. I think that's something we can definitely spend some more time on, a lot of our energy, and that's going to move on into the bracket, which I'm going to have posted very soon once I figure out how to change a JPEG into a. I'm not doing that kind of stuff. So this week's episode because of my Wi-Fi. I'm very sorry to anyone. I love my friends so much, and I just want to talk to them. Without the ability of communicating, my heart breaks. Michael, if I just want to listen to you because my voice sucks, where can I find you?
You can go onto your podcast catcher of choice and type in Jack Billings Presents. And what you'll find there is a scripted, weird podcast that takes place on alternate dimension Reading, Ohio's, where the cast is usually the same characters, but they act a little bit different in the different universes. You're going to find Jack Billings Presents Me and My Neighbor Michael, which is the first season. Jack Billings Presents Haunted Apartment Complex, which is the second season. And the current season is Jack Billings Presents King of the Big House. It just started tomorrow. The next episode drops, episode 4. I wrote that one. And I think one of the nobodies is in it. I don't remember, but yes, definitely. Marcus Fiasco, played by one Dylan.
Only one of us.
Only one. Only the
Dylan.
One Dylan plays magician. Plays magician Marcus Fiasco. Magician. It goes well. The magic goes well. Just, as a spoiler alert. Or you could listen to myself talk to our former No Time to Binge co-host, B. Highland, about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure on the podcast This Bizarre Adventure. Sometimes we miss weeks, but we try to get out as much as we can. We are up to episode 49 in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Damn.
Yeah.
So cool.
It's a really fun show, and B is one of my favorite people who has ever existed on this planet.
I'll listen to it just for B. B's worth it. Michael's, he's like a condiment to a great
absolutely.
Yeah.
And lately we've found out some B lore. The show started as more of a JoJo's Bizarre Adventure podcast, but now it's a weird podcast about how B is a entity who can teleport and is watching everything that everyone is doing at all times. Just like everything that I do, it has turned into a weird sci-fi comedy thing.
So B now is Santa Claus.
B is God now.
But Santa Claus,
hell yeah,
that's fine.
But they were for a while a weird spectral entity that could warp through walls and is standing outside of your window whenever you're listening to the podcast. But don't look. That's all I'll say.
Sorry, my eyes were wide. I should have known better.
Dylan, where can people find you?
I'm trying to be active on Blue Sky.
Yeah.
The writing community there is all right from what I've seen.
People like Blue Sky.
I guess. Vorpal-words is what I am. I have some pieces out for consideration in various publications, but I don't know if they've been accepted yet. So we'll see. People will know.
So get out there and accept them. Accept them with your open arms and open hearts. I think that's it. That's all we got, right, guys?
Yeah, I think
all
so.
Right. Well, until next time, hope my Wi-Fi is good. I've been Zach. He's been Dylan. He's been Michael. But you've been great. You guys have a great night.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit some buttons.
Do it. Oh,
that was the wrong button. What's that?
It's that ticking noise.
That's not the
Hell
right
yeah.
picture at all, but whatever. It's one of my favorite things I think I've made.
It's a really clean cutout.
Yeah.
The turtleneck really emphasizes your width.
That's a bandana.
I think it's an ascot.
I don't believe that.
When is this going to end?